Hello there. Thanks for watching or listening to VIP Boxing's Bell to Bell podcast, episode 134. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, on Spotify, thank you very, very much. And if you can give us a review, it helps get us pushed up charts. I don't know how all this stuff works. I'm clueless with all these, whatever they call them, logarithms, whatever it's called anyway. I haven't got a clue. I'm Steve Lillis, as you know. With me always, John Evans. I should be saying, welcome to one of our regular guests, a man that needs no introduction. There should be a drum roll, and it should be John Pegg. But he's stuck in traffic, and literally, he's come off the bench in the 96th minute. The chief of VIP, Steve Wood. Woody, we only usually have you on summer, Christmas, and Easter, and the odd sub appearance. Tonight was a last gasp one.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, mate. I could have been at home having my tea, but I've stayed at the office and no prep or anything. Don't know what we're talking about, but I'm suppose you'll get some good bullshit that we like to hear on the.
And we're not going to upset any of your mates this week, Woody, either.
I'm going to go into them if we've got to do. Let's get on with it, yeah.
Right. Anyway, I tell you what, there's only one place to start for the start, middle, and end. I think this week it was Saudi Arabia, which was just the whole week thing nuts. I had no idea all these superstars are going to be wheeled out and undoubtedly paid, and saying how great Saudi Arabia are, and the bloke who was running it, who owns that club bottom of the league around Maria. Incredible week out there. It's one of those things you almost wished you was around the event to see how it was all round and organised. It seemed phenomenal. Production looked phenomenal, everything about it. And then we had one of the maddest 10-rounders ever. Something nobody ever predicted. John, I know you never predicted it, but what you did ask me earlier on was Ngannou the best debut ever?
Is that the best professional boxing debut ever?
There's not many done 10 rounds, is there?
10 rounds for a start against the #1 heavyweight in the world. And he didn't just survive. I thought he won, actually. I know there seems to be a lot of boxing people saying, I've watched it without commentary and Fury won. But if you asked me at the end of that fight who I thought won, I thought Ngannou won. And I was going to talk about Fury being bad. But you know what? I think Ngannou deserves more credit for what he did. Because that was phenomenal. He didn't make a single mistake. He held his shape. He was the more powerful puncher. He had the game plan. Fury looked completely lost. And I don't know. Well done, Francis Ngannou, because I don't think we'll see the likes of that ever again.
No, unlikely to. But what we were talking last week, John, was this the end? It would be the end of these crossover matches. I think it's going to be the start of a new generation of it. You know what? I thought he won it, and I think a lot of people who were saying, "Oh, Fury and shit," but it was no robbery there. Of people trying to defend boxing. That's how I see it. I think it was close, but it was only one winner for me at the end, and that was Ngannou. He was fantastic. The thing you touched on there, John, was how he kept his shape for 10 rounds. Because usually you see these guys doing it, they've been disciplined, it's been drilled into them, but after 2 rounds, they're everywhere. The feet are everywhere, the hands are everywhere, the balance is everywhere. But he kept it going throughout. It was incredible. What did you think of it, Steve?
Well, I didn't score it because I just didn't expect it to go more than 3 or 4 rounds. So I just can't say who I thought won. It was certainly a close fight. I'd have to watch it again with my pen in the hand and, try and do that. But like you say, great credit to him. And what I would say is what a chin he had, because he took at least 3 full-blown shots off him, including one which was like an elbow smash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And never moved. It was like he was made of stone. So no, like you say, I think he's only ever done 4 rounds. Is it or 5 in that MMA? And at 37-year-old to turn into boxing and do 10 rounds against the lineal heavyweight champion of the world is unbelievable. I mean, I obviously think that Tyson has took it very, very lightly. He was out of shape. He's never in good shape, but his love handles were wobbling all over more than ever before. And obviously once he realised he was in a fight and he tried to up his game, he just couldn't do so. I think it just shows you the fact that you have got to take every fight serious, because things like this can happen.
Oh, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Carrying those muscles around for 10 rounds, having never done it before. I thought he's destined to tire after 4 rounds here, 5 rounds. And he just kept going and going and going.
You know, I just thought, and after 4 rounds, he went back to his corner and his mouth was open. And I thought, here we go. Now trying in the 5th round, Tyson had a really good 5th round. And I thought he's just going to take over and dominate now, Tyson. He's got it going. He's fathomed him out, and that's it. But the fact Tyson tried to take his head off with the first punch of the fight that missed from here to London tells you all.
Yeah. Oh, it was unbelievable. And something else he deserves credit for is the way he held his nerve all week. You know, that there was a lot of attention. You know, I saw some of Fury's team moaning at how much press he had to do, and maybe that affected him. But Ngannou had to do the same amount of rubbish they had to go through. And he had also the added pressure of never having boxed against the best in the world. And he held himself together brilliant. It was great to watch.
The media side of it, you've been at the big fight weeks, John, around the world. And I've been lucky enough to be to a lot of them. The media stuff is relentless fight week. Yeah. Until the Thursday afternoon, it's relentless. And then you get the Friday where it calms down. So it's nothing Tyson's not experienced before the media circus.
Yeah. But this Friday night, he didn't calm down, did he? He had that dinner with a who's who.
Well, don't go. They shouldn't be going to these dinners. I know they're getting paid a lot of money, but, you know, Ngannou was there as well. But it was everyone on the bill was there. If I was a trainer, you wouldn't want your fighter out mixing with all these celebrities night before a fight. But if they've got all the money, they're paying it. I'm guessing they were contracted to.
Well, they were all heavyweights as well, weren't they? It might have been different if there'd been a featherweight on the bill who had to get the weight back on.
Yeah, but also with it, you know, I just think for Tyson there, could it affect him mentally, the performance? Because it's not like a footballer in a World Cup. It isn't like Messi in a World Cup final having a terrible game. It's a team sport. You know, he's got his teammates. He's got to perform like that in front of what's above boxing royalty. And, you know, people, he talks of wanting to emulate. Like Larry Holmes was sitting there laughing at it at one stage.
Well, I suppose you can look at it two ways, can't you? But I think Tyson will have learned from that. And there was people like saying, as he got old overnight. I just think he took it as a bit of a joke. Like, to be fair, I did, and a lot of other people did as well, and just expected it to be an easy night's work. So I think he'll go away from that, realise he got it all wrong, and he needs to get it right for the next fight. So he could spur him on a little bit more. So he could go the other way than what you're saying. He could go down and affect him. I don't think he's the sort of person that things like this would affect him mentally.
Well, I'm not sure. Like when he's been put on his ass before by Wilder and Steve Cunningham and that guy at the Trafford Centre. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. 3rd round, he got drugged and his brother tried to get in the ring to have a fight with a bloke who floored him.
Yeah, it went crazy. But he's always got up and beat them up or knocked them out. So it's probably not really had much of an effect on him. But this time he got put on his ass and a novice pretty much beat him. And I wonder how he'll react from that with the embarrassment of it all. You know, the best thing he could do is get straight back in the gym and get back fighting. But it doesn't sound like he's going to do that, does it? It sounds like he's going to have 3 or 4 months off.
Well, Frank Warren suggesting as late as February now for the USIC, whereas we was already booking our seats to watch it in a front room on the 23rd of December. But obviously there's a delay to that. But you know what? That fight the other night, isn't that, you know, people talk about how much damage it's done for boxing. Okay, it's made it a bit of a laughing stock and an embarrassment. But that performance the other night isn't going to hurt ticket sales anywhere. And it's certainly not going to hurt the pay-per-view sales when he does fight Alexander Usyk for all of the belts. Because more people are going to want to tune in. You know, is he shot? Was it just a bad performance, as Steve says, where he never prepared right? I don't think, the damage it did to boxing, it just more made people more have a laugh at it more than anything.
Listen, he'll be all right when his paycheck lands next week or something like that. Don't worry about that. But the great thing from it, and I watched it, I must say that I didn't like the 20 minutes wrapping hour before the big fight. I thought that was terrible. But, it's a different audience, I presume. I'm surprised the Saudis like things like that. But what I'd like to say is that, the money they put into this, the undercard, is getting the likes of Bacoli out, who's not been able to get out. So he'll have had a good payday. The Wardley, the British title fight, a massive big purse bid, sorry, not a big purse bid, agreement they come with, and like Jack McCann's been struggling to get out, he got out, so it's absolutely been brilliant for British boxing, and like Frank Warren looking 10 years younger, isn't it, and happier, and the money that's going in is fantastic for British boxing, and you look that they built those stadiums or whatever they were, look like massive big hotel rooms, didn't they? Within 3 months, it cost them a lot of money, and it's great that they're doing it in boxing. And the only thing I can see maybe problems down the line is that these lads are going to earn that much money on these Saudi shows that they'll just wait for those Saudi shows rather than have a fight on a normal thing. And look at AJ. What's he going to fight for now instead of what he was going to fight for? It's going to affect us a bit that way, but. Fantastic that all those lads got out on the undercard to it as well, and all got well paid.
Fantastic point, that Steve, about I'm all waiting for this Saudi money while it's there. It's almost like when the PBC started up, everyone was only fighting once, twice a year because there was so much dough there. Do you remember, John?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen again, isn't it? I think we're already seeing it with the heavyweights, and if more of these MMA guys start like some of the UFC champions have been calling out boxers for a few months now, haven't they? If they see a way in, and you might get someone like Tank Davis, who's probably a prime example, will only fight once a year against one of these guys, and that'd be for worst case scenario, wouldn't it? But
yeah,
I went out watching my derby yesterday in the local, and people came up to me talking about the boxing.
Yeah, phenomenal. Everyone
came up to me talking about Jack Catterall beating Linares, and not one of them said, "Oh, Ngannou beat him, Fury's crap." They all said, "Well, Fury won anyway, didn't he? Fury won. It just didn't seem to have affected them whatsoever. It didn't seem to have bothered them. It was just a fight, but Fury won, and they were talking about it."
And so true. Yeah, my Facebook was full of it, non-boxing people, were they talking about it. But just one thing, Steve, that's quite serious. I need to pick you up on there. You moaned about the music. You have Michael Pass singing Elvis songs.
Brilliant. You don't get him 20 minutes before the main event, mate. That's like a warm-up before they all come in and get going. But no, Passo's the best, mate. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, he's the king, mate. We had him in that's when he did his little 10-minute stint in Wakefield a few months ago. Superb. We need him doing that, doing a little hip swivel and singing Burning Love before every main event.
Yeah.
If you get there early enough, he'll sing you the chocolate adverts as well.
Jackson Hume's going to be doing the DJ. Yeah, we're going up to another level as well. We're not going to Saudi's level. We're surpassing that with ease.
Yeah, Jackson Hume's going to DJ, John, play his ring music, and then run and do his ring entrance. Because he's now the VIP DJ. He's going to do that Blackpool 2nd of December, which the show will touch on before we finish. But just moving on, because Steve's got to get home for his dinner here, John. Fabio Wardley, you want to talk about him getting the respect he deserves, I think.
Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he? When the fight first got announced, I had a bit of a feeling for Adelaide, but last week when we were talking, I'd started switching to Wardley. But he just dominated him, didn't he? Yeah. I thought he handled himself brilliant through it, dominated the fight, beat him down, and just looked a level above British level.
Yeah, Adelaide had little spells, but they were very small ones, wasn't they? Like 5-10 seconds burst, and then he adjusted and just took over straight away. He was never affected by it. I thought he was super composed and broke him down as good as you could have expected anyone to do. Like you say, he gets you excited about what level he can get to, because at one stage he's thinking that British was his ceiling. But after that performance on Saturday night, I think he can go a bit more.
That's right. You know what? He had a handful, was it 4 or 5 unlicensed fights? But when you hear him speak, he's grounded, he's calm. And you in the ring, you know, he's obviously a decent man. He can punch, he's got a bit of movement. It's just hard to believe that he had no amateur background or any how he just picked it up. And I don't know whether he's going to sign with Frank Warren now. I've no idea. I mean, there's rumours he is who. I think, did I see somebody might have been on a fight-by-fight deal with Matt True? I'm not sure. But you look at it now, Frank Warren there, he's signed Solomon Dakbraids, I think today's been announced, the English champion. It's almost like Don King in the 80s. He's just concentrating on the heavyweight division. Almost like, you know, when Barry Hearn was dominating the super middleweights and then Frank. It's mad.
Yeah, I saw Ben Davison today saying he thinks they're going to match him with Joseph Parker on Fury Usyk. I don't think he wasn't talking officially. He said, I just get the feeling that's what they're aiming towards. But he deserves it. Wardley deserves it.
Of course he does. And you know what? That's a great fight for him. Someone who's still in that world top 10, still, you know, has had a couple good wins since the Joe Joyce loss, you know, a highlight knockout the other night. And it's funny, our Joseph Parker's still in demand, but people like Zhang and Bacoli, who they've been on these big shows, they're almost like what Joe Joyce was before he gets beat. You wonder if their chance is ever going to come.
Yeah.
You'd have to fancy Wardley against Parker, wouldn't you?
I do, yeah, you would.
Big test, isn't it? But if he gets through 6, you fancy him.
Yeah, I fancy him to beat. I'm with Steve. I fancy him to beat him hands down. I'd go quite big on Wardley. I'm big on Wardley. I mean, I get plenty wrong, but as I said last week on here, I was in no doubt about the outcome of the fight against Adelaide, and that's not me saying I told you so, because I get so many wrong. I never got one wrong as much as I did with Fury the other night. What do you think, Steve, of Bacoli? Before we move on.
What? He's obviously better than what I think of him. I missed the fight. I think he must have been on really early on Saturday night. I didn't get back till a bit later, but I missed that fight. But you know, to put Takam away as early as he did do, you've got to give him some credit. And maybe Billy Nelson's right what he's saying about him. He's just that, you know, when I've watched him, I've not really been that hot on him, but you know. He certainly deserves a chance, and him and Zhang would be a great fight, wouldn't it? And
that would be the fight, wouldn't it?
Over there, he could probably do it, yeah. That's
a great fight, isn't it? John Zhang and Bacoli.
Yeah, Zhang deserves something bigger and easier than that, I think, doesn't he? Than Martin Bacoli. But it'd be a great fight, but I think Zhang deserves something a bit bigger than that. When I first saw him on the scales, though, I thought he'd been on too many of them deep fried Mars bars and deep fried pizzas up in Scotland. He was 300 pounds, wasn't he? But he looked to have carried it well. You know, it didn't bad on him, did it? He beat the crap out of Takam. It was like nip and tuck for 2 rounds, and then all of a sudden, Billy Nelson gave him a kick up the arse, sent him out, and he was relentless. He could probably do with losing £10, but I didn't think he looked too bad with it, really.
You know what? He did an exhibition with who's the Scot, Nick Campbell. I went up to one of Ian Wilson's dinner shows. And he did an exhibition with Nick Campbell about 6-7 weeks ago. I'm sure he weighed less than he did the other night. I'm sure about 19 stone for that. So there you go. But anyway, look, we'll crack on. The last thing I want to talk about, Steve, BIP, what's happening between now and the end of the year?
Yeah, the bad news at the moment is that it looks like it could be the end of Jolly Boys, which have been doing for like 22 years. We're struggling to get a venue for that. So by the end of this week, if we've not got a venue, we're looking Liverpool or Manchester. There'll be no Jolly Boys in 2023, which will be a big disappointment for us. But we've got Hull on Saturday night, which a 10-fight card, all matched up now. We've got the girl matched up today, I believe, Steve. Yeah. And then I've just seen that... you know, the Wigan card's looking quite good. And then we've got monster shows December the 2nd in Blackpool, which today we've had Brandon Diard pass to fight for the vacant English Superfly. So him and Ben Norman will be contesting that, and I'm hoping for a great win and performance off Brandon, then to start pushing towards the British, whether it's in fly or superfly. You know, he's more than ready for these tests, but he's got to prove it on December the 2nd in Blackpool, then December the 9th in Bolton. Again, we've got a pack card, probably a couple more additions to make on that, because if I'm not doing Jolly Boys, his kids will have to get out. But we're just looking for the good top of the bill on there, and then there'd be a welcome break for the new season. Have January off, and then we're back with a central area in Liverpool in February. Then we've got obviously 2 shows a month all the way through the year, and they're nearly all penciled in, Steve. So yeah, it's going to be busy end to the season, and then a bit of a break, and then back bigger and better than ever. We've got I think announcement to make in January of a bit of changes in VIP, which I can't say yet because it's not over the line with solicitors, but it's only going to be of a big benefit, not just for me, but for all the fighters who are signed with us.
Yeah, so you'll be looking to sign more fighters. You were scaling, when we had you on before the summer, Steve, you were scaling down, you were looking to scale down on the management. So what are you doing in that direction? Are you going to carry on managing now, or?
Well, it looks like I'll have to do, but we'll be bringing in a bigger team to take a bit of weight off me and concentrate on the brand, and hopefully pushing for something better than what we're doing now. But we've gone back to live streaming all our shows, so we're going in the right direction. But the new year should see a big change for us. Yeah,
John, anything
I'm looking
to
for. Yeah, a couple of good fights. But I'm looking forward to seeing Sonny Taylor this weekend, because Sonny could be good, couldn't he? But I was speaking to him down in London, actually. I sat with him for a good couple of hours recently. And I think he knows now it's time to get serious.
You know what? Bags of talent. He's most probably good. He's got more natural ability than some. This sounds stupid, and people will think I've had a frontal lobotomy. But if he lived up to his promise and delivered what we know he can, it'd be a nightmare for Bill and Smith. You know that?
Yeah, he was down sparring. He was down there at Bill and Smith, Jordan Thompson fight, and he'd been sparring. A couple of the guys in the Stonebridge Park gym at Wembley there, and he was fit and he was looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing Sonny, and then Matthew Rennie and Moorcroft's a good fight.
Oh, what a fight that is, Steve! That's going on Channel 5 card.
Yeah. I mean, they're both up for it, and as I say, when I put the VIP fighters together, we always go for the 50-50 fights where you don't know who's going to win, and this is definitely one of them. Obviously, it's a big step up for Matty Rennie, but he's been asking for that for a while now and wants to test himself. And obviously, for Moorcroft, who's coming off a loss, but he's still the mandatory for the English, he's obviously confident because he's putting that position on the line by fighting a fellow English kid for a 10-rounder. So, it's going to be a good fight, that one.
Yeah, I'll tell you the one you do need to try and get to, John, if you can get on your motorbike and go up there to the Blackpool show on the 2nd and catch Levi Barnes. I think there's a special talent there. He's the one that, I think I've said to you, every so often you see a fighter, and he's the one that's caught my eye over the last few months. Yeah,
I was going to come to the last one, but I had to work on a different show. But yeah, I'll definitely be at the next Blackpool show.
All right, but that's brilliant.
A lot of good young talent up there, and it's my favourite venue, the Winter Gardens. So,
because you're packing it, Steve. Because you're not doing your ball of bollocks when you go there. You're packing the place out.
that might be why it's my favourite place, eh?
Everywhere else, everywhere else, you're getting your pockets to the end of the night, and an old fiver pulls out. They don't print anymore. You go to Blackpool, mate. But then the following week, you go somewhere else and you give it back.
I'm full of Jock 20s when I'm coming home on there.
Fellas, thanks very much for coming on. John, thanks as always. Steve, thanks for coming on the subs bench. We'll get you back at, I think it's rather get you back the first one in the new year or the last one before Christmas. And thanks everyone for watching or listening. The format's been different this week, but I hope it's been okay. We've entertained you for 25 minutes or so. Thanks very much, everybody.
For all boxing
info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north. Click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.